Hello there, and welcome to All Knicked Up, your home for commiserating about the New York Knicks. And uh, if I'm a little tongue-tied tonight, it's because what I just watched. And I'm angry as well. But let me bring the other guys on so we can start breaking this down for you guys because I am going to kind of go off for a little bit. But let's bring Ty in. Craig will be here in a minute.
Only because misery loves company, I'm here.
Yeah, man, I couldn't do this one by myself. This would be tough to do a show after this game.
Oh.
Man, people might see some stuff they never thought they'd see because
Might need a beep button tonight to kind of censor some of the language that might come spewing because this is gonna be rated R. I don't know how much PG we can get through.
me neither, man. This was so tough to watch. Let me bring Craig in because he's here now. So Craig had said some daddy duty for a minute.
Zaddy duties.
Had to let him take care of that and then get a drink. I hope it's an alcoholic one because after that game we need. There we go. See?
Yeah, pass it to the left. Pass it to the left.
Oh my God. So I'm gonna put it up so we could. I know we don't want to see it on the bottom, and it says 112.85. I feel like that score is not indicative of how bad this was, and we're talking about what? That's a 27-point loss.
Yeah,
guys. So if I'm saying that is not indicative of how bad this game was, you know how bad this thing was. This was last week when we came on there after the Hawks game. That was different. The Knicks came out on fire in that game, and then they blew that, and then they got totally destroyed after that. But Jamal Murray came on. Jamal Murray did his thing last week, took over the game, and they really had no answer for him. But tonight was very methodical. It was like a slow burn. It was like little cuts on each, and then dip your hand, and then you're cooking and you get some like alcohol or vinegar in the wound and it burns. You're like, damn, and you cover it up, and then it's okay for a little while, and then another cut happens, and dude, it was so bad. And I'm just gonna go there right now. Craig last week came on here and went there first. I'm going to go there now. They have to make a coaching change. And I don't care that it's only 11 games. They are not a consistent basketball team. They came off their best game, arguably their best game of the season against the Timberwolves. And yes, I know that team has problems, but they're talented. They have 3 very, very talented players. And that is not an easy trip to make. Minnesota is not a great town. Going there, it's not like they're not like players circle that on the calendars like, crap, I can't wait till we go play the Timberwolves. So, I mean, there's a lot of things. That trip can be tough. And they won, and they played excellent. I mean, they had some issues in the game, of course. They're not a perfect team, so they always have issues in every game. But Julius Randle was fantastic from 3. We saw that. I felt like the other 2 guys, Brunson and Barrett, like the big 3, I guess, if we want to we have a big 3, those 3, they all played well in that game. And then to take that, you figure you'd build a little momentum, come home. You're coming back to New York. Yes, you're going to Brooklyn, but that's a Knicks game, really, because it's more Knicks fans than Brooklyn fans, as we know. So you go in there, you go into that arena. That team is has a bunch of crap to deal with. We're not only talking about the Kyrie stuff, getting rid of Nash, Ben Simmons, the artist formerly known as Ben Simmons. I have no idea who this guy is right now, and I'm a fan of his when he's healthy. I think he's a fantastic player. But holy crap, who is this guy? I just read a stat. Ben Simmons has never lost to the Knicks. He is 15-0 against the Knicks in his NBA career. Kevin Durant is 21-3 now in his NBA career against the New York Knicks. So, knowing all of this and knowing that it's your quote-unquote rival right across the freaking bridge, and you come out and you give this effort, you play like that, that is coaching, folks. That is coaching. This guy cannot get them motivated. I don't know what happened. Players are regressing in front of our eyes. What are they doing all week in practice? Are they practicing? And I'm telling you right now, the MVP of the Knicks at this moment is Mitchell Robinson, because their defense, when he's on the court, is at least good. When he's off, we see what it is. This is crap. And this coach is a defensive coach, and this is what he's here for, to install a defensive philosophy, which we've talked about. This is not 1995. This defense would have worked well in the 90s. It doesn't work well in 2022. So it's hard for me to keep watching this team, because when they have a good win and you're like, okay, maybe things will start to turn around, they followed up with this crap. And Ty, I got to defer to you, because you have said you said it last week. You watching Tankathon? You go right to Tankathon. Because man, it's true. It's hard not to want to do that. We're not even in December yet. The season is 2-3 weeks old, and we're thinking this already after an off season where you extend your best first round pick that you've had in years outside of KP. But I mean, you extend RJ Barrett. He the way he finished last season, you expected him to pick up. He starts slowly, we know, but there's also an issue with how he's being used. I could say that. And then you sign Brunson. You finally have a real point guard, and yes, he's a real point guard. He controls the game for them. He could do things with them, but he's not perfect. He's not a perfect player either, and he has limitations. So, but you should have had all this goodwill to come out the season. They played great. I mean, they fought back in game one. That's the first game of the season against the Grizzlies. They fought back, almost won that game on the road. But man, it's just really, really tough to watch. And you can't blame all the players, right? Yeah, we have issues with certain players. We talk all the time, Julius Randle needs to go. And I'll still say that. We've said many times they need to make a decision between Julius and RJ. For me, you go with the younger guy who you just signed, the guy who still has some upside and still could become a little something more than what he is now. Randle's Randle. This is who he is, folks. Don't that season 2 years ago was such an aberration, because, like I said, we had a great game against Minnesota, comes back tonight, and now he thinks he's Larry Bird and sure. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This is not who you are. Yeah, you had a good game, but now this is what you're gonna do. And I know, and that's another thing, because he said last game, Tibbs told them they're not shooting enough threes. He said that after the game, because in the post game they asked him, like, what was the big deal, and he's like, against the Celtics we only shot 27, they made 27. That's what he said. So the coaching staff is telling us we got to shoot more threes. You don't have shooters to shoot threes. You're not built that way. So if the coaching staff is telling you that, they don't know their own roster. So watching this, honestly, guys, this was a tough one. Last week I was angry because of how it happened. This week I'm angry because, number one, they didn't show up for a game against Brooklyn. They were flat from the beginning. Didn't show up. They gave up 38 points in the first quarter. 38 points to Kevin Durant and a CBA team. That's really what they are. I mean, I like Seth Curry, nice player. Joe Harris, good shooter. Those guys are good. Those guys are good players. But you take Durant off this team right now, especially with no Kyrie, they're the worst team in the NBA. And at least talent-wise, they're the worst team in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And the Knicks don't even show up. I'm sorry. That's a coaching issue. Either one of you guys can take it now. Agree with me, fight with me, whatever. But either one, the floor is open. Go ahead.
Well, there's not going to be any arm wrestling from me. Get my Tankathon tattoo already up. Baby Earl that thing up. Honestly, I'm laughing, but I'm miserable. I'm a miserable Knicks fan, always a miserable Knicks fan. And maybe that's what starts my Tankathon ritual early all the time. It's because I can't watch the disaster. And the more I watch the disaster, the more I want to, the quote unquote, throw up in my own mouth, so to say, because it's just the same routine every year. And there's one constant, which is the coach, and I'm of the mindset that no matter what you bring on this team, until you change the head, the tail's going to wag the same way. And we've watched this coach, win Coach of the Year, probably deservingly so, because he made the Knicks relevant the first year he brought in his standards and, in his structure, which is fine. We're not going to take that away from him. But the thing is how he got a coach of the year. You know, people, and I've always said this about him. It was one half of the season for Julius, and there's the other half for Derrick Rose, and RJ somewhere in the middle. You know, you had three guys who got hot at the right time, and we backed into that playoff spot. I always say that. You know, we went fourth, but we could have easily have been seventh, eighth, or ninth. You know, and Derrick Rose helped propel us to get in. But this has been his coach's MO. Every place he's gone, he's candidate for coach of the year the first season. And every season after that, we have the same results of it getting progressively worse as he coaches. And I think that's one of the reasons why. I mean, I'm not like some prophet seeing Tankathon. It's just this is a coachathon. We know what this coach does, and we're watching him not be creative. He's never been creative. This is just basically his resume. He's never been an offensive coach. We're in an offensive league right now. You know, where, he's got the thing is I guess the offense is a read and react offense that he's doing, but you have to have special talent to have those kind of offensive sets where you're asking a player of LeBron James or Luka Doncic or a Jokic. You're asking those guys who are, they're the exception in the league to make plays for you. And yeah, but we don't have one of those guys. We have a team full of pieces that, in each way have their own individual talents. Some of them are duplicate talents. But, you've got to set up a system that's either going to focus the offense through the point guard or through a particular player. But when you're going into the a particular players that we have that are great scorers or are designated scorers, you've got Julius and you've got RJ. Now you have to structure the team, or at least an offense, around having talent to surround these guys who are not great. I don't know, they're not great individual scorers, scoring savants. But you got to at least allow the floor to be open enough to let these guys operate under. I would never, if I was coaching for my life, I would never say give Julius Randle the ball and let me live off of what he does and expect my team to go somewhere far. RJ, I believe you can utilize him in that fashion in limited time. I'm not saying full time, but at least you expect that he will make some better decisions with the ball once he gets it. It should be ran through Jalen Brunson. I mean, you brought him in to be the point guard. Now tell these guys to get out of his way. But the part of the problem, and I brought it up last week, was when you structured around Brunson, he operated with shooters in Dallas, and that's the reason why they were extremely productive. Because you were able to spread the floor and give him the space to, work inside the lane, inside the paint, get his layups. The Knicks don't have one shooter. Like the guy who came off, was it Civic? What is his name?
Mikhailuk.
Yeah, he's a shooter. He's a shooter. Grimes is injured, so we don't know what that's going to turn.
Yet he played.
He played, what I don't know what's going on with that. And who else are you? Ev, you're not giving him any good looks. He's really not like a sniper. He's more of a really good volume 3-point shooter.
Right.
So you've got a bad mixture of talent. It just doesn't match. And then you've got a coach who is not creative. He's never going to figure this out as far as who to sit, who to play, how to watch momentum, to read the floor on what the other team's doing. And then on top of it, you have a defensive coach whose defensive philosophy is just flawed.
Archaic.
Every team is having a practice. When you watch the 3-point shots that have been given up by the Knicks, they are in practice 3-point shots. There's no contest. It's the kind of contesting that guys go and they clap. They go to clap, say, hey, let me just mimic in the game a clap. It's not like you're saying stay on your man on the perimeter or go man to man, guard the 3-point line, run them off the 3-point line. We have them collapsing once again in the lane and then trying to recover after they've collapsed too deep. And just those signs alone, and we're seeing it so early in the season, I don't see any way they're going to correct it, that they're going to start to say, okay, let's throw that book out the way. We're going to start doing this now. This is not the coach that's going to do that. He's going to triple, quadruple down and go 10 toes deep.
Yep.
And this is what works. And it hasn't been working in 2 years. It hasn't really worked, and to me, it wasn't really working in 3 years. But he lucked out with 3 players actually catching fire at the right time. It's not. This is he's an old man. He's getting off. Get off my lawn. He's not. He's not going to plant any other lawn. Grass anywhere else. He's just going to say, "I'm going to live and die by this method." And he's going to get knocked out like Debo on his front porch. The Craig gonna get him. Not this Craig, but the other Craig. Yeah. Bye, Felicia. It's over. Tibbs need to go.
Yeah. What about it, Craig? What about it?
I mean, he's got to go. I mean, I know 11 games seems hyperbolic to be fired the fire Tibbs chance or whatever, and I know I said this the last time we were on here, but yeah, it's something that's not connecting, obviously, with the talent, or he's not connecting with his players. I mean, I'm sure they all love him, right? I guess it's hard not to love him. He seems like a likable person. He's not Popovich, right? He seems like he's easy to get along with, but at what point does that really carry the weight that you need? How before that translates to winning and the product on the floor? I mean, at the end of the day, we all give Leon Rose a pass, but he has to remove his friendship from the business side of it, and he has to. I mean, if you don't want to fire him, if you don't want him not to be a Knick anymore, just give him a consulting position or to the front office, something, right? But he cannot be the coach of this team anymore. Give him his little golden parachute. If you're not going to exile him, he's got to go. There's nothing that he's doing that even closely mirrors offensive plan. And the more and more I watch the game, the more and more I see what you're referring to, Ty, where he just packs the paint. There should be no reason why you're recovering on three-point shooters. At the end of the day, it's a stars league. It's a star-driven league. Stars are going to beat you one-on-one. And in my opinion, live and die with that. If Giannis can take you on the dribble, if KD wants to take it, just let him do it. But honestly, at this point, I'd rather see that than see a bunch of mediocre players or above average players destroy this team night in and night out. And so far, it seems like that's happening. Even in Minnesota, where you're up by 25 points, there were a lot of guys getting a lot of threes for the most part. Not at the clip as tonight or the Boston game, right? But you're getting beat by people don't know. Like McDaniels, I get it. He's an NBA player, right? These guys are in the league for a reason, right? They've done enough to be good, to have jobs. But there should be no reason why they're beating you.
Yeah, who was this dude tonight? Well, Sumner. Who the hell is he?
Who is he? Who is he?
Who the hell is Sumner?
It's the saying, whose man is this?
It sounds like a freaking accountant. That's an accountant's name.
For me, that's what's frustrating, right? Crosstown rival, national. It's not really a national TV game, but
it was on ESPN. That's a national TV game.
But a lot of people don't have cable, right? So, I'm get what I'm saying, like national.
Technically,
TV
it's considered that though.
Yeah. So national TV game, and then you're getting beat by KD and a bunch of guys.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I know. That's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch because there's context and nuance to that, and the average NBA fan won't get that. But it's bad that you're losing the players like that.
And Jacques Vaughn he got named head coach today. They removed which is cool. Congratulations to Jacques Vaughn. I've always liked him, even as a player back at Kansas. Congratulations to Jacques Vaughn. Seems like a good guy. Glad he's getting another shot. But I mean, this is a complete. They already have a new coach. Like they should be the ones struggling. Like what is? I don't know.
You can't make it up.
You can't make it up. And man, see, this is I mean, actually, I don't want to say we all. I think Craig actually liked the Tibbs hire, so I think he did. Right, he did like it. But we didn't. Ty and I did not like this hire. No. So it's not like we're jumping on him now because they're losing. We've had these issues the whole time, since he's been here. And I think he's one of those guys who is a better assistant coach
Yes.
than a head coach.
I've always thought that too.
Right? Like we have there's in the NFL it's like that with a lot of guys, and it's very, very apparent. You see it very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Tibbs was lucky that he had some success in Chicago at first, and he had a superstar Derrick Rose at that point, who was the MVP of the league, the youngest MVP ever. He's lucky he had him.
Yeah.
And Rose was that player at that time because he could just tell the guys, you know what, let Derrick score, do what he needs to do. You guys play defense. He also had a utility knife in Noah. Joakim Noah was a utility knife of a player. You could give him the ball. He could run the offense. He was a good defensive player, could rebound the ball. He was kind of the anchor for them in that regard. And then you had other guys, like I think they had Luol Deng, and they had, right? They had other guys on.
They had some pieces.
Yeah, they had other guys who were not great players, but very good players. Like they were very, very good players. And they played their roles perfectly. This team does have very good players. We have Derrick Rose. We don't have that Derrick Rose, but we do have Derrick Rose. But so for them to win, it's got to be a well-oiled machine, right? Yeah. Everything has to be laid out. There has to be plans. They don't have a ton of good freelance players. Julius Randle is not a freelance player. Like, he can take guys one-on-one, but he should be doing it in the paint. He thinks now, like I said, he's a guard. Mm-hmm. So he wants to dribble out and do his spin and all that other stuff, and that's what he wants to do. RJ can be that type player, but again, when him and Randle are on the floor together, you see it all the time. One of them is stunted, and since Randle gets to bring the ball up, it's usually RJ.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If Brunson's not bringing it up, it's usually Randle. That's usually how it goes. Specifically, if he gets the rebound, because Tibbs tells him he could rebound and run the floor. He can dribble, so that's what they want him to do. But I also think if they did move on from Julius, let's make the team fun, plug in Obi, and let's go. Right?
Absolutely.
Let's go. Let's run. Absolutely. Let's run up and down the floor. I don't care if you lose games 135 to 129 or whatever. I don't care if you lose these big 100-point scoring games, because if we're gonna lose, I'd rather it be like that than like this, because this is ridiculous. We talk about another guy we're gonna bring up. We will go through all the players, but I'll bring up Emmanuel quickly. Who is this guy? Like, I don't even know anymore. I can't even put my finger on who he is as a player. They're asking him to be a point guard, which he's not. So when he's out there, he's trying to run an offense. Why he's running point when you have Brunson on the court? I said this last week. Yeah. You just signed this guy to be your point guard, and you're letting him handle the ball when they're on the floor together? Why? Quickly is he's quicker. I know that's his name, but he's a quicker player. He's a faster player, but he's not a good ball handler. So give the ball to the guy you just paid all that money to, and let Quickly be the one running around and back cutting and trying to score and do things like that. That's what his role should be.
It's almost as if this is it's the stubbornness, and this has been his calling card for a minute. He's so hell bent on proving who Quickly is to him. And by doing so is at the detriment of the player and of the team's success, because he's sewn in whatever he told management or he told people on the microphone, how much, he's praised and elevated Quickly, and by doing so, he's out to try to do that, to sit there and prove that this is what this guy is about. And he plucked the gym, because he's been a fan of Quickly, from what we understand, way before he became a Knick. So this has been his little pet project, the whole JR, Woodson project kind of thing with Quickly. Mm-hmm. But the difference with J.R. Smith was an extremely talented guy. Like you could see why Woody was infatuated with the talent, because JR, he should have been an all-star type caliber player with the talent he had. He just was the noodle wasn't, the noodle wasn't in the soup, in the right soup bowl. So that was the issue with JR. But in the case of Quickly, there's a ceiling. He has a serious cap on his ability, both physically and mentally. It seems both sides of the fence on this one, where you can't get anything out of him that's unique. Everything. I mean, it used to be that he can make shots. Now he can't make shots. Now everybody's like, oh, quickly's getting rebounds. Well, what else is he going to do? He's not doing anything else. You should at least get in there and get along, which is kind of like whatever nowadays. We have a league where you're going to get long caroms because it's 3-point shooting. This is not like he's going in there and he's fighting Charles Oakley for a rebound. This is a long bounce. That's why Russell Westbrook, if you're tenacious enough, the guards can get rebounds. That's why Russie averages a triple-double those years. It's not by mistake. Long caroms means the guard is more likely to go out and get the board and be able to, to rebound in that regard. So he does not one thing great, and he might not be doing one thing even good at this point. So it's like, what is this guy, and why is he getting minutes? Why not? You might as well give Deuce McBride minutes. I mean, at least Deuce does resemble somewhat of a point guard. We know he's going to play defense. We know that he can occasionally hit a 3-point shot. Emmanuel Quickly right now is looking like a second rounder. He's looking deeper than the pick. What he got picked at 20, 25?
Yeah, 25, I think it was.
Yeah, he's looking like he's like where Deuce got picked. That's what he's looking like, a player that was a second rounder who might have been figured out by the league now. And he has one dribble. He's like a dribble and pull up, or dribble into the paint and hold, and then search for where he's going to throw it. It's really bad. He's a broken player right now. I don't know what you praise about his game. I mean, I know we tease our former comrade here in podcast land about him, but it's because now it's even worse than what the joke started as when you think about it. Like, we went on, just jabbing John with it, but now this dude is terrible. You can't defend what he's doing now.
Yeah, that's like, to me, he's the most glaring example right now. RJ's been struggling, but he's had games where you're like, okay, there's RJ Barrett. Like, that's the guy we know. For the young guys, Mitch was playing pretty well before he got banged up, so I wasn't really too concerned about him. And Obi's been pretty good so far for the most part this year. It's really been quickly. And it's got to be fixed, because let's be honest, at this point you can't trade him. Not the way he's playing. No one's going to want him.
Nope.
So even if you're looking to include him in a deal, that's right now, like, someone's going to look at that like, yeah, who cares? I don't want this kid. He's screwed up. So, but there's another guy who's kind of been, to me, has looked off, and I've been talking about it all year, and that's Derrick Rose. When he's in the game, the one thing I noticed is, I don't know if he's having arm issues or nerve issues or something, because his handle looks loose.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's something like that going on, because that does happen. If you have some kind of nerve issue in your arm, you can't always feel the ball. I'm speaking from experience from playing football. I've had stuff like that before, and it does happen. And you're like, oh, you have the ball, and you might not even know it's there because you're not feeling it. Only feel like 2 of your fingers, not all 4 or all 5. So that's the crazy part that I'm noticing with him. Craig, you're a fan. You're a big fan of Derrick Rose. So what have you been noticed? Do you agree with me? Do you notice something's off with him?
Yeah, he's got the case of the cam handles, because those every time down the court you watch Rose, it's just like it's always the extra pat, like, to get it under control. And it's just it's like one of those things when the ball is stationary on the ground, you try to bounce it with your fist to get into it. That's what it just seems like. I don't know what it is. It's something off. I mean, he's getting to the basket. He's not finishing as much as he used to. I mean, he's still able to get there. He's still got the athleticism, but he's just missing. And that handle it is very, very loose right now. It's not as tight as it used to be. So I don't know, but I have noticed it. But I'm always going to give players, or give anyone, a pass for a little longer period of time if they've done something exceptionally well for an extraordinary period of time, right?
Right.
So I've noticed this. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he's getting himself in game shape. I don't know, but it's frustrating to watch, because if you coalesce that with that he's only averaging 12 minutes a game,
right?
Is it something that we don't know? Is it something that the team isn't expressing, or maybe he just got to get himself into game shape, like he always says he does? But it's kind of scary to see, but who knows at this point?
Yeah, we know he lost a lot of weight. He talked about having the weight loss, and that can also be an
Yeah.
adjustment when you're not used to
Mhm.
playing at a certain weight. You're trying to figure out how to do it, but I don't know why that would affect his dribble.
Yeah,
So maybe he's used to having a little fatter hands, and now now he lost some weight in his hands too. So he doesn't feel the ball the same way. I don't know. I think his shooting's been pretty decent though. I haven't noticed anything there. So tonight the whole team shot like crap. So I don't even want to bring tonight out. But um, I think his shooting's been okay, been mostly there for most of the season, but it's just been the handle that's been really, really noticeable for me. So we'll see going forward because I'm part of me is like saying if he's healthy enough, dude, just let Quickly play the 12 minutes and let Derrick Rose play
yeah.
the lion's
I'm
share, right? Like,
I'm so frustrated with Quick. I don't know. Like he's a maddening player. Like he's Tim Hardaway maddening. He's Frank Ntilikina maddening. I don't know what it is. He has a mental block and he's not looking like an NBA player right now. He looks like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating. And Tibbs' obsession with him, I understand he earned it. I get it. But he's a negative out there right now. Just
yeah,
don't just don't like what you're doing to Fournier. You should be doing to Fournier. I mean, you should be doing it quickly right now. Like
right.
Yeah.
just don't play him.
Like Ev at least has like you're talking about having a resume. Like Derrick Rose has a resume, so you're in your head. You're like, I have a little longer leash because he's done it before. He'll probably get back there. Fournier the same way. Like not a great player, but he's had a very good NBA career. You know what he knows what he can do, and right now he to me he'd be more helpful than what Quickly's giving us. So I don't know. And we brought up McBride before. We saw him in the summer league. He was just as good almost as Grimes was. They were ready to go forward with Grimes, but why not this kid? Like why none of these guys have established anything. So giving Emmanuel Quickly the leash because he was a first round pick. I mean, what does that mean? Just play the better guy. If maybe McBride's not playing better in practice, but throw him in a game. See what he does. I know he can play man defense. I know he can defend people.
He's going to
We
defend.
know that.
I also think with Ev is getting a little bit of a bad rap too in this regard. He did just come from playing FIBA basketball. It's like people are waiting for him to like, I brought this up. They're saying, his defense is so bad, but Tibbs removes him, and we're giving him more 3-point shots probably. I don't know the stat, but I'm willing to put money on it. We're getting burned more that he's been removed out of the game, the starting lineup, so to say, and being this whatever he was killing the defense. But meanwhile, the defense is not improved. This goes back to like the Kimba thing when they benched Kimba last year. Oh, Kimba's the reason why the defense is so. Kimba goes out and they still suck, And then it's the same thing this year. They take out Ev, they still suck. In fact, they're giving up record 3-point shots. Everybody, it's like Oprah. Everybody gets a 3. Everybody gets a 3 now. If you get a 3, I get a 3. Everyone can hit a 3-point shot on the Knicks now. So it's like, come on, they gotta pull away. It's really the coaching philosophy all over. When you look at it, I don't know what their philosophy, and I told Eric this before off camera, I don't know what their philosophy on both ends is. I don't know. I don't think they have one on both ends because it's like you go take the ball and figure it out on your own. But make sure you don't give up the paint on defense. That's the only philosophies. If there is one I can zero in on is that. So it's like he's going to live and die by Quickly. It was Randall last year, and now it's Quickly this year. He lived and died by Randall last year. And it's like, by any means, I'm going to ride Randall. Well, now you have Quickly, and you're doing the same thing. But what happened was the strength of this team has always been the bench. It's never been the starters. And the minute you took Emmanuel Quickly out of being anything special off the bench has suffered, and that's why we've been losing games. The bench does not have that punch that we've needed that makes us special to other teams, against other teams. Our bench usually always outscored. Obi's doing his job. Yeah, we haven't seen Grimes, but he wasn't really a huge part of when the bench was great anyway. He just came along. But Rose is taking a step back. It might be due to injury, could be the weight, like you said. But really, Quickly's regression right now is the reason why this team looks really bad once the starters come out. They have no one to actually run the point.
He's not a point guard.
Yeah, but they've designated him to be, and being that Rose can't go the way D Rose has been going. I mean, and I can't even judge Derrick Rose, really. I'm just letting that dude was MVP. He's 36 years old. His resume is what it is. Nobody should be sitting here going, "Oh, Derrick Rose is screwed." Derrick Rose is a legend. He's got his legendary status already done in the league. Yeah, he didn't win a title, but that dude is very well respected by anybody who watched the game, unless you just really don't like Chicago. I mean, unless you don't like people from Chicago, there's not much bad to say about Derrick Rose. But however, if he can't go right now, fine. So be it. This might be an age thing. It might be the part of his career where he's dwindling down.
Right.
Emmanuel Quickly has no excuse. The way he's coming into games as a blossoming young talent that supposedly works on his game religiously. This is all we heard. He watches more film than everyone. He's just so dedicated to his craft. His craft looks like crap. It's another CR word. CRAP, CRAFT. Yeah, that's him. He's in the crap mode right now. He is terrible.
Yeah, I don't know what film he's watching. It might be some porn or something. He's not watching basketball film. Not playing like that. I don't know what it is, but so we brought up the 3-pointers. And there's a very misleading stat, because if you look at the Knicks 3-point defense at percentage wise, they're 10th in the NBA, which isn't terrible. You know, the teams are hitting 35% against them. Okay. The misleading part about it, though, is they're giving up 42 threes a game. 42 threes they're giving up, and teams are making 15 against them on average. I believe that's second in the league. Yeah, so Minnesota, the team that they beat, leads the league with 15 average of 15 made against them a game. The Knicks are 14.5, so technically 15 as well. There's no such thing as a half a three. So so pretty much 15 as well. So that's what we said. Sometimes when people talk about analytics and stats can be misleading. And here you go. This is a perfect one because, yeah, okay, 35%. I guess you could say you're doing your job, right? You're for the most part, guys, the teams aren't killing you from downtown. But then you look that your teams are taking more against you than any team in the league. Who cares about the percentage? 35% of 42 is better than, if you're giving up, where is it? Hold on. If you're giving up 12 or, something like that, it's just a better percentage looking at it that way. So I don't know how to fix this. I mean, we could talk all we want about the philosophy. Yeah, okay, you're right. You shouldn't be packing the lane in 2022. But who's to say the next coach they hire won't do the same thing? You don't know that.
I think for like, well, why that stat is definitely misleading about the defense. It's when you're giving up these shots. Yeah, you might not be giving up, a huge percentage of, percentage wise, but if it's an open shot and you're down and it's a momentum shot, you're trying to climb back into the game and you're up by, you're down by 5 and someone hits that damn shot. That's a back-breaking shot. And you're giving up open shots. Three's a three, no matter when you take it, no matter when you hit it, and it might not be at the highest clip, but the Knicks have afforded teams opportunity after opportunity to keep either the lead or to get back in games with the type of shots they're giving up. They're giving up these wide open shots that are like, oh, the Knicks are almost climbing back in, and all of a sudden, some dude from across the street at the gas station, he just hit a three. The Knicks are down by, and it's like, here we go again. And that's the kind of shots they've been getting. These here we go again, 3-point shots, no matter what that percentage. And I know people who defend Thomas and be like, oh, look at the defense is 3-point. Yeah, but look at when they're giving them up. They're giving these up in tight situations where they should not. Even if you change your philosophy a little bit in game. It's once again go back in game adjustments. You're right, Eric. What can we do differently? Probably not much different because the talent is the talent. But it's like when you're starting to see these guys warm up, and you're the defensive coach, the best in the game supposedly, and you're watching that dude from the gas station hitting 4 threes in a row. Don't you think you might want to run him off the line? Do you think you might want to get the ball out of his hand? Do you think you might want to just do something or put a better defender on him that kind of give him a different look? Why can't you put a Deuce McBride on these situational things? Well, we're talking about situational players. Why not do that? Why not put in a guy who can stop him? There's no stopping, a guy like Kevin Durant, but there's ways of stopping a guy who nobody knows nothing about, who's never seen a staunch defense zero in on him. That's the whole thing. Superstars are going to get up their shots, but the guy off the bench should not be the guy looking like a superstar every time.
Yeah, I believe the best example we had of that was against the Celtics with Sam Hauser, who I always say don't leave white guys open, and he is whiter than me, this dude. So, which is hard to do, but he is. So, we had seriously like he hit 6 threes against them. And I said this when against the Celtics. You can buy Jason Tatum getting hot from 3. Yes, of course, he's a fantastic player. Same with Jaylen Brown. These guys are all-stars. So if they're hitting threes, you can at least buy it, but don't let Sam Hauser hit 6 threes on you, right?
Doogie Hauser.
Exactly. That to me, that's the game. And it's just like you said, like you let the stars are going to be the stars, right? They're going to do their thing. Craig, you said this before too. The stars are going to be the stars, but you can't let them create for other people wide open shots, because that's what that guy had. I want to say at least of the 6, I want to say 5 of them were wide, completely open, no one within like 10 feet of him. That's how open he was in that Celtics game. And the Knicks could have won that game. They very well could have won that game. They were in it until I think the middle way of the 4th, and then Boston kind of went on a run and put it away, if I remember correctly. I was drinking that night, so I apologize. But yeah, like this is the problem with this team. I don't mind losing, like against the Cavs when Mitchell went off. You know what? He's a great player. Great players do that. I can even buy Kevin Love doing it, but not Wade. Not Dwayne Wade. We're not talking about Dwayne Wade. We're talking about whatever this. I don't know what his name is, but like really, like those are the guys who are beating them. Those are the guys who are being the difference right now, because you are not staying at home, and that's what Craig said before. Like, play them one-on-one. Let the star beat you. If he's gonna beat you, then he'll beat you.
Let him beat you.
But don't give up the 3, because that's the game nowadays. That's what the NBA is nowadays. It's a 3-point shooting league. Blame it on Steph Curry if you want to. I don't care, but that's where we are. So teams look to shoot 3s. I just said they shoot 42 against the Knicks on average. On average.
That's crazy when you think about that. 42 attempts?
Yes, 42 attempts.
That means their whole offensive, at least probably even half their shots are coming from 3-point range almost.
And I just thought of something. Who was the team Tibbs coach before the Knicks?
Minnesota.
And who is number 2 at giving up the most 3s attempts in the league?
Minnesota.
That's why I didn't buy the Julius Randle hitting all those 3s, because I'm like, Minnesota is just letting them. Their defense was worse than ours, in my opinion. When watching it, I'm like, I can't even buy it, because everybody was hitting. If Julius Randle is hitting 7 threes, you know something's wrong. You either got hot in NBA 2K, and he just suddenly got hot.
No, that's NBA Jam hot.
Oh, NBA, you're right. They're on fire. The ball's flaming like that. Let me tell you, it's not because he's a great 3-point shooter. It means you've left him like practice shots. That's really what it comes down to. And I was like, tonight I just thought it was so embarrassing watching. I know Seth he's a very good shooter. I think he has the highest 3-point shooting percentage, I think, even more than his brother. And it was just embarrassing to watch Durant just kind of like casually says, well, here, Seth, let's just act like we're practicing. And he just was lining them up. And it's like, these are practice 3s they're making. That's embarrassing. I don't even know how they show their faces on camera after this game. how that coach gets up there and says maybe the next game or we'll move on. How do you move on if they come out the next game? They're playing Detroit next. If they come out with that, they better start the fire and Tibbs chance in the Garden. They cannot come out and let Detroit be that team.
It just if you can't get up for the Nets, and again, I know the Knicks Nets games mean more to Brooklyn the Nets than they do to the Knicks because the Knicks really don't care. The Nets are just there. Even the players feel that way. You could tell it's not as big a deal to them as it is to when the Nets win. They're the little brother. They always want to win, even if they have the better players. That's just how it goes. The franchises, the Nets are the little brother, so they're always going to bring their game, but their A game. But you should know that. You should be prepared for that. That's my issue. Craig, you've been too quiet, man. What like?
It's frustrating. I mean, it's my thing is you're losing to your little brother on national TV. Like I know we're kind of just that's nitpicking, but you cannot. I don't care if you lose the game. The score shouldn't be 112 to 85. If you lost 112 to 95, I'm sorry, 112 to 105. Okay. At least you know it's a competitive game, but you got destroyed on national TV to a team that you're theoretically better than, even with KD on the opposite across the floor. You should have won this game. And if you're going to lose, it should be on the last possession. You shouldn't be getting beat like this. It's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to watch some. I get how great Kevin Durant is, but he's a very unlikable player, right? It's frustrating to watch your team lose to a team full of unlikable players. Seth Curry and KD and this Claxton kid and Joe Harris. Like, come on, like no one cares. But why are you losing to them? Why are you giving fodder to the Stephen A. Smiths of the world? And then the casual NBA fan who just we all can agree that the Knicks have been a bad team for a little bit now, right? I mean, I say a little bit, because I'm trying to be nice, but they've been a bad team, and you're losing to them on national TV. It's unacceptable. Or you're getting blown out by them on national TV.
Yeah,
Julius has got to go. Quickly's got to go. Sorry, I know I want to give Ev a little bit of a leash because he played over the summer, but he's got to go. You've got a way to consolidate some of these players and get somebody back that's going to give you the opportunity to maximize RJ and Brunson. And those ancillary pieces that are surrounding them, they just don't work. If I have to see Julius Randle, I don't care how well he played in Minnesota. I don't give up. He's so – am I allowed to say retarded? He's so retarded, okay? The things that he does on the floor. He's very like, if I have to see him herky-jerky – half spin, full spin, rolling dervish into the lane and get the ball taken one more time. And I don't care if he does it. He's literally like a bull in a china shop.
That's a perfect description.
There's no control. He has no. What's the science? Your body kinesiology. What am I saying it right?
Kinesiology.
Yes, kinesiology. Thank you. He would be the perfect case study of a person who he's off the wall. We all say that Westbrook has this. He's always all over the place, right? But at least he's somewhat controlled in his off the wallness. If I can say that.
No, it's controlled chaos. Yeah, that's a good
Julius he's literally like a toddler just running around the floor and then just destroying everything. And you're looking around and you're like, what did I just witness? And that's what I see every single time I see him play the game of basketball. What are you doing? And I don't want to blame him, right? Because it's a collective effort. But it gets to the point now where I'm tired of overanalyzing it, and I'm just seeing madness, and I need it to stop. And it's frustrating.
It's funny you said toddler, because that's how he reacts. When something goes bad, he reacts like a toddler, and he's done. At that point, I'm like, might as well take him out now because he's completely lost for the rest of the game. There is no saving him at this point. He's just going to now. Oh, like what I said, it's over. Someone did it. Someone got him. Because once that happens, seriously, he starts getting he gets back to being the ISO guy, the ISO player. Like he did something tonight he was in the paint and he's doing a spin. He was trying to fake. The guy didn't even move. He was just staring at him like, why are you pump faking? I'm not gonna jump. I'm just standing here.
I'm not gonna fall for the banana.
And he looks so determined when he's doing it. He's like, I'm like, dude.
I got a
stop
question
it.
for you. We talk trash about quickly watching tape and not being able to analyze anything or have it translate to the game. Does Julius watch himself on tape?
He can't.
Does it get awkward? Does he sit back and say, "Ugh"? Does he not? Is he that oblivious to what's going on?
He might be. I think he might be one of those guys because you see a little bit on the floor where he's looking around, which would be interesting to watch him watch film because I don't know who he would point at because he does a lot of it during the game, like, oh, like you weren't there, like when the defensive things are blown or he'll go to the ref and automatically go, because of you, this is why this happened, this foul, and you didn't call it on. He's wrapped up in the smallest parts of the game instead of the larger outcome of the game. And it makes me wonder if he watched tape, would he point around and would he blame the DVR? Would he blame the guy who was at the camera? Because that's his MO. He's going to complain. He's wired to go and say he's going to get lost inside of the game. He cannot separate the emotions from it. So whereas most people might complain and then get back on defense, Julius is like, no, I'm not going to let it go. I'm going to talk all the way up the court. Then the first foul that happens, I'm going to go talk to the ref again. And then I'm going to go to when a teammate comes. Derrick Rose, shirtless and all, really summed it up in the press conference, saying that people got to be able to take criticism and not take it personal. He wasn't talking. He was talking to Julius. He wasn't talking to nobody else in the Knicks locker room. There's no other Knick that you see that you believe that you got to tell that to, but
That's
Julius.
true.
And that was sending that kind of message. And I'm more than sure, even when we look at the mini game, I didn't like the reason why I was so disturbed about that was he had a great game. And I'm like, this dude's going to come out now and be a superstar.
That's exactly what he did.
And instead of just saying, wow, now that I've attracted all this attention as a three-point shooter possibly, the next game I come out, that was the whole today. I was thinking, I said, this dude's going to come out and be an idiot. I said, he's going to come out and be a full-fledged idiot because he should be piggybacking off of that game and says, now let me get everybody else involved. So now I start hitting these couple threes. Now I'm going to get my man involved and start dishing a little bit more. We're going to have a collective effort. When he came out, he was chirping already and looking at his stat line and know he was hitting a bunch of shots. Dude, your team sucks right now. Is you as the leader have to say, all right, let me drag y'all along, but you need to get over here. I'm going to set up a play and get you off. I'm going to get this dude off. I'm going to start sharing the rock. He is not wired. He played with Kobe. Rest in peace to the Bomber. But Kobe was wired to just think about Kobe and whatever. I mean, it's just what it is. He was one of those dudes that was hell-bent on scoring, no matter if there were four guys and the better pass was to two other guys that are open. Kobe's like, nah, I'm still going to shoot it. Julius has that wiring that, nah, I'm going to keep shooting it. Because your teacher makes you a student. That's who you are. Whoever taught you you're the student of that person. So he admires Kobe. That was his dude. That was his vet. So
yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like he doesn't have Kobe.
He just doesn't have it.
An eighth of Kobe's talent. Like
well, he don't know
he's
that.
Talented. He's talented. No, he's a talented player. Don't get me wrong. Julius Randle could do things guys at his size should not be able to do. So I'm not saying he's a terrible player, but yeah, he thinks he's better than he is. I think that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
That one season really made that worse because now he's like, I did it once before, I could do it again. And what happened tonight was I noticed he was shooting threes, like not even feet weren't even set. Like he was like leaning on some of them.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, you're not a great shooter. You know this. You know you're not a great shooter. Like, why are you taking shots like that? You need to have your feet set, perfect follow through, eye on the rim. That's how you need to shoot. You're not.
Those are the threes he was getting in Minnesota.
Right.
Who do you blame though?
I'm blaming Tip.
Tip told him before that shoot as much.
Yeah, he said,
yeah. You are 6'8", 6'9", okay, 250. Take your big behind into the that's on Tibbs or that coaching staff is saying, hey, or someone on the coaching staff going to Tibbs and saying, you might want to steer him to playing inside out. There should be no reason why he's herky jerky spinning and looking like he's off his meds because like that's not. Sorry, I don't want to be an ableist here, right?
No, that's perfect.
But that is not. It's not working right now. It worked in 2020, but it's not working right now.
Yeah, he shot 40-something% in 2020.
When you were in New Orleans and you were killing KP when he was on the Knicks, right? And you're like, how is he doing this? Or when he was in LA killing KP. Where's that Julius? Because that was the Julius that I didn't like because you were killing my 7'2" center who should be stopping you. Where are you? And that falls on Fizdale, and somehow it's migrated or just eked his way into Thibodeau. He's got to go. I'm at the point now where it doesn't matter that he had how many points he had. He made 8 threes. I did not care. It's like being in a relationship. You're like, you know what? There's nothing you can do now. You're just kind of yeah.
Well, I think you got to look at the dynamic of the team, how they're losing. You got to. I mean, yeah. Granted, we could say Brunson's not looking good, RJ's not looking good, et cetera, et cetera. But the main guy on this team is Julius Randle. No matter at the end of the day, you got to wonder what he's doing. Like when he's successful, in my opinion, that doesn't make the team successful. It makes him successful because his game doesn't translate. Like beginning of the season, he was making some very good passes into Mitchell Robinson. Like, oh, let me find my teammate. Let me go in. Let me play within myself and within the game. That's when they were winning. When they stopped winning is when everybody called their own numbers. And everybody's like, oh, no, I'm going to dribble this rock because he started transitioning to getting the ball more. You brought Brunson in to get the ball out of these idiots' hands. That's what you did. You brought him in to say, and that falls on the coach. We're running it through Brunson. You get here, you get there, and let's work. And that is why they're failing right now because the refusal of that coach to lasso in once again one of his players or two of his players, namely now is Julius Randle. They might as well bring back Alec Burks because, I mean, they should have kept Burks and traded Julius. I don't know what they needed to do because at least he was hitting shots. But what they're doing now is he's enabled two guys on that roster that are flawed players in Quickly and Julius Randle. And the longer the season goes, I hate to say it, I think we're going to be losing a lot more games than we need to.
And not only that, he's kind of, I mean, I've been saying this for years, but what he's doing to Obi as well. Like you're taking a guy who's a tremendous athlete and you wanting him to shoot 3-pointers. And I get it. It's a good supplement to his game, but he should not be out on the perimeter waiting to catch and shoot. He's not that kind of a player. And yes, credit to him. He's gotten much better. Yeah. He's done a really good job hitting threes this year, but you're taking away what makes him special. You're not letting him be the athlete driving to the basket, getting dunks, letting him put the ball on the floor. We've seen a few times he can do it. He can get to the basket. He's a good finisher. Those are the things he does well. And you're having him stand on like I said the other day, I was joking, but they're like playing a 1-4 or the four corners offense. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you're putting guys out on the perimeter who can't shoot.
Can't shoot.
Like, what do you? Yeah, we've had this issue. Like we've all had this issue. I mean, you and I, we've had. And now Craig's finally come along with what exactly with the offense pretty much since he got here. Like this isn't a new phenomenon. You thought with a real point guard, okay, maybe now we have a point guard who can figure things out and run whatever this offense is that we're running. And in the beginning, the first few games, yeah, it looked good. They did. It looked good. Brunson looked great. He was scoring a lot of points. He was getting the team involved. But this is a professional league. Teams start to take away what you're good at. So when a team starts taking away what you're good at, you need to counter that. That's part of being a coach. The players could, you say, well, they're professionals. They could counter it. Yeah, they can. But that's one guy. The whole team has to be on the same page. That's on coaching. And we keep seeing this slip. And yes, everyone's like, well, they have assistants. It's not all Thibodeau. The team does what the head coach wants. The assistants do what the head coach tells them to do. They're not running their own little separate offense on the side, and then when Tibbs is there, oh, let's go back to that style. No, that's not how it works. So this team should be, yes, they're 5-6. For the most part, they've won the games they should win. So I don't want to be too crazy, but tonight to me was a game they should win, especially without Kyrie, with Ben Simmons, like I said, being a shell of who he used to be. And really them only having one gun, and obviously it's like a bazooka. Kevin Durant's one of the greatest scorers ever, so yes. But Ty, you said before, like we were laughing, but you said before, like he was just being him.
What does it mean him?
Yeah, he was just doing what he normally does. So it's crazy that a triple-double is what we expect from Kevin Durant, or we know he's capable of, so you're just kind of like whatever. But it's, this game is more glaring than the Hawks game, because to me they at least showed they were good enough in the first and then just collapsed, and that's fine. Tonight they weren't even there. Like should not even have been on the same court.
They didn't show up at all.
No, and for all the reasons I stated before, it's Brooklyn, their drama, everything's going on with them. That team was ripe to be picked off. If they got up big on the Nets early, that game would have been over.
Yep.
They would have the Nets would, I don't care if they have Kevin Durant, they would have lost. And because the crowd would have been in it then for the Knicks, as we know, it's a Knick crowd. Everything would have gone their way, I believe, and they would have won. And all they had to do was come out and swing first. And they didn't. They look ill-prepared. It's not the first time I've said that this season.
Yep.
There's been other games where I thought they were ill-prepared, or other games where, again, for some reason, halftime comes. Why can't we make adjustments? Other teams do it all the time.
Not us.
We don't make adjustments. And I don't know where to go from here except to say they need new leadership. Like, they need a new coach. And they probably won't get one this season. Like, if they fired him, it's going to be an assistant who takes over, whether it's Bryant or who was the other guy?
Dice.
Yeah, Yashimoto.
Yeah, Dice Yashimoto.
Whether it's one of those guys, I have no idea. But it's gonna, again, we're 11 games in, and we have a long way to go. We're not even at Christmas, which everyone considers the official start of the NBA season. They say, oh, Christmas is when the NBA begins. We're not even there. We're not even Thanksgiving. We haven't had turkey.
We ain't got no gravy, no biscuits,
nothing.
Nothing. It's gonna, it goes back to the same thing we said last year. Until Tibbs and Julius are gone, we won't know what this team is. I'm of the mindset that they're both connected in some way. They're twins. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, they're twins, literally. And they don't look alike, but they act alike. So it's like, you basically have two enablers. And I don't think you can properly see the talent on his team and adjust the talent on his team, because you can't have Emmanuel Quickly as one of your centerpieces. He is not a pillar. He's not that guy. And the fact that you're taking a square peg and putting a round hole, like you're force feeding that this guy is that talented, but his talent is not. It's not. You could see it on the floor, and you could see it in Braille. You can see that he's just not that dude, and you're trying to make him into something special that he's not. And maybe we should be less critical of him because he's being asked to do something outside of the scope of what his talent level is. So I'm trying not to beat on him too bad. But I think a real coach would have acknowledged what his shortcomings are and tried to adjust to those instead of making him into being more than what he is. Same thing with Obi. Obi has a huge ceiling. If you can maximize out why would you not try to overly work on Obi's offensive game, like get him overly involved? He jumps out on the TV. Like when you watch the guy play, you can see the talent is there, the physical talent's there also, and just you think you'd want to sew into that, but you're more concentrated on a guy who was picked 25 with a limited skill set. Manuel Quickly's not going anywhere. He's not even a backup right now. He's a G League player right now. People might not want to get it because they love Quickly. He should be in the G League.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, you have other guards on this team that you drafted McBride was a second rounder, but apparently they loved him. So why not give him a shot when guys are struggling?
Don't throw it over, kid. Give him Archie. What's his name?
Archie Diacono.
Archie Diacono.
No,
Archie.
no.
I'm just gonna
Here's
go
the thing, but do we? I mean, here's the thing that frustrates me about Tibbs, though. You're a Riley, and then you're a Van Gundy disciple, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be times when Van Gundy would do complete hockey. What's the term?
Hockey subs. Or subs out.
Yeah.
Like
he
the
was
hockey
just,
subs.
when it didn't matter with Spree, Houston, LJ, Charlie Ward, they were all playing like garbage. He would just say F it. Childs, Canby, or Kurt Thomas, just go in.
Oh.
And sometimes that would kind of get the team going.
Right.
Tibbs does not do that at all.
No, he brings guys in down 30. He brings guys back in the game with 6 minutes left. He brings the starters back in. Oh, we're gonna make that run. We're gonna go on that 28-0 run. And
he's just so frustrating, man. Like it's
hard
to watch, man.
He's about as frustrating as Julius. I told you that they're Danny DeVito and on they're twins. They both can frustrate you. You could see the good things about the players and that coach, but then I don't think that their good outweighs the terrible. That when they go full terrible, it's real bad. And like I said, it's hard to look at Julius's stats. Same thing with Tibbs' stats with the 3-point defense.
Yeah.
You look at the numbers, you go, well, they're not bad.
But the eye test.
But they are terrible in a lot of ways. It's like, yeah, you're getting the numbers. Julius's numbers are fantastic. You look at his 20 and 10. Yeah, he's filling up the complete stat sheet. And it's like, but you're losing. You're losing by that methodology. You're not like you're winning from these great outputs. There's this thing as empty stats. And those are empty stats when you look at those guys. Because you're not going to win anything big with Tibbs as your head coach. And you're not going to win anything big as Julius is your 1A, 1B, 1C. He has to be I think he's a sixth man on a great team. That's what I think he is. And because he's got limited amount of times he can't screw up. You limit your screw-ups.
Yeah, or your third best starter. Like he could be your third best starter.
If Mitchell was on this team, I wouldn't. I'm just using that as an example. I know I was caping for him, but I'm trying to be honest. If he was on this team, it wouldn't matter what Julius was doing because he would him and Brunson together would open up so much more for RJ if he would still be here and Julius. It would just make the game so much easier for them because Mitchell could just collapse the defense, right, and just get anybody whatever shot they wanted. But he's not.
I think Randall would still screw it up. I do. I mean, I'm not trying to be jokey. I just think that you know how it is. You got that person you can't invite to parties, even though you love them to death, and you hang out with them, and you're like, all right, they're cool, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll bring them over to the house. I got guests, and you're like, well, don't let them need a Hennessy. Whatever you do, don't let them get one cup. And then you see him over there, and he got the red cup. Oh, damn!
Have that friend.
Yeah, that one friend. You're like, damn. Should have never left the Knicks to the Hennessy. That's Julius. Because you're watching, like everybody's like, hey, they're having a good time. And everybody's jamming out, and all of a sudden he's like, here he comes.
All right. So I need to ask a question about somebody. Are we over him yet? Cam Reddish. Are we over Cam Reddish yet?
Sometimes he's there.
Sometimes about Cam. It's like, I know that he's saying that. It's like we've seen Cam, and what we've seen from Cam is going to be exactly what we see. He's a better version of Frank Ntilikina. That's the only thing I could say. But he's like Frank Ntilikina.
It's crazy. I mean,
you don't know what he's going to get with him.
He's their best 3-point shooter right now. He's hitting 41%.
Wow. Frank was through.
What?
Back in the day, Frank was hitting 40% of his threes, I believe. His last season with Tibbs, he was the best corner 3-point shooter. So that's Cam.
But then, like, you watch him, and he takes some of the worst threes I've ever seen in my life. Like, how is he hitting 41% and it's not making any difference? 1 bit of difference. Like, I watch him, and I'm like, this guy's... And don't get me wrong, this kid's extremely talented. Like, you watch him, and he does some moves sometimes, I'm like, wow. Like, that's real impressive. Yeah. But he's another one. Something, it's here. It's not getting in. Like, there's something not getting in.
I-
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, he's a dense sponge. There's nothing going in. But I think also if you watch Cam is also being victimized by this team's play also, and not that saying that Cam doesn't have his own issues, but he's playing next to Emmanuel quickly, and I don't know if you've ever watched him, the body language when he's on the floor with quickly, he wants to stab him, like 50 times because he's like,
Yeah.
I'm never getting the ball. I know I'm never going to get the ball. This dude he's never going to look for me. Then he ended up throwing those ugly wing shots, those wing 3-point shooters that he cannot hit. He has one section of the floor where we're like, oh, he's going to beeline. It's not going to go in. He does that when he gets frustrated because he's like, I'm never going to see the ball.
He definitely wears his emotions on his sleeve because right away when he's upset that something just happened. Because he's just like you can see the huff, and I'm like, oh God, he's mad. Like with him, you see it, and with Julius, you see it all the time. You know exactly when it's the switch went off because it's funny, like to me to watch. I laugh. It's got to be frustrating if you're playing, but to see it, it's just very funny. But yeah, I just asked that because I know you guys were kind of pushing for him to be part of the rotation and start and
just his trade bait. I mean,
listen, just to get up his value. He gave 2 picks for him. Literally,
I will say this. He is better defensively now than he was before he came here. So I don't know who's working with him, but the one defensive guy who's got better defensively this year is Cam Reddish.
Cam's a 3-and-D player right now. Literally, I mean, we couldn't figure out what he was because he's got all that extra talent.
Right.
He's like the reverse Obi in a way because Obi has the talent and we're seeing it grow and grow and grow. Whereas Cam has the talent, but we've seen it shrink more into trying to define him as what 2 things can you do great, which is now he can defend and now he's hitting threes at 40%. So he's literally a 3-and-D type player with all this other baggage that probably won't mean nothing to him because he doesn't know how to maximize it.
All right, so we're going to wrap up real quick. I'm going to very quickly talk about the upcoming schedule. They have to, I mean, if they want to kind of salvage the season right now, if they want to kind of keep making things interesting, they have to get the next 2. They have to beat Detroit and Oklahoma City at home. I don't know if they will, but they have to get those 2. If they do that, they'll be 7-6 before they go on a road trip where they play Utah, Denver, Golden State, Phoenix, and Oklahoma City again. So they have to get it. They have to get these 2. If they're 7-6 before going on that trip, and they can get 1 or maybe even 2 of those games, but I'll take 1.
I think they get both. I think they lose every single game on the road.
You think they lose all 5?
Mm-hmm.
I think they could beat Oklahoma City again. So maybe that game.
Not with Shea, man.
But who knows? Maybe by then Shea will be on our team. I'm kidding. I have no insight.
I think they can snag the Detroit game as long as who they got. Bogdanovich? Is he
back?
Impress us.
If he's back, yeah.
They have if he's back and Alex Burke is back.
Let's see.
And he knows the offense. He knows what Tibbs is going to run.
Burks won't be back.
So. He won't be back. Okay. So we're dealing with only one sniper. So Detroit probably can't shoot threes. This is my biggest thing. Open 3-point shooters. If they don't have a lot of shooters, Detroit plays with a lot of their athleticism. They don't got like a sniper other than Bogdanovich. So I'm just saying if
he's back though.
Yeah. See, if they leave somebody like that open, they could have a long night. I think OKC gonna bump us. I'm sorry. I just think Josh Giddey's gonna come in here and wreck house because he's one of those players that they don't buy. It's great, and he'll come in and ruin your Christmas.
Another guy I wanted. God damn.
And Shea is Shea. That would be a game where Lou Dort is going to probably get 50.
I will
he's
say
one of those guys that are like you don't expect it, and he's that guy.
Yeah, I mean Shea is having a tremendous season.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they have no shot to beat the Knicks. Obviously, any team has a shot to beat the Knicks. I'm just saying it's at home. The Knicks are at home. They have to win this game. Like they have to win these next two games. They're home games against two teams that they're definitely right now, I think, better than Detroit just because they have more veterans and they're kind of an older team. I think should be able to beat them. I'm not saying they're more talented. Any team that has Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey is very, very talented, and Jalen Duren, and I could keep going. But any team that has those type of players, obviously they're formidable. I'm just saying from when I'm looking at all the factors, they should win against Detroit. But yeah, I mean, the Oklahoma City game, I would not be surprised if they lost, but I think they will just because it's also it's a noon game on Sunday. It's a weird start time. So those games are always tricky, and they usually favor actually the road team. Now that I think about it, because the home team's chilling in their own beds, they sleep in. They're not so worried about they're not worried about all this stuff. They're not together because they're all at home.
Poku is probably going to go for a triple double.
Oh God.
I'm telling you,
this would be like the
game and another. Well, I forgot the other game, but tonight's game was very telling because this was about a lack of leadership and hunger tonight. I'm just like, if you can't get up for Brooklyn,
I said, yeah.
If you can't get up for these are the games that annoy the hell out of me. You are playing against Kevin Durant, the odds on one of the biggest stars in the league. And you think that it was okay to roll out of bed and go, national TV?
So depressing.
I'm not motivated for that. You got $300 million on that bench. $300 million on the Knicks. And you mean to tell me you let some dude that I don't even remember his name. I just remember his face in my head.
Sumner.
You let that dude roll you tonight.
How dare you forget him?
Think about that. And OKC is a hungry team. If you watch them play this year, they get at it.
Oh, no. Again, I'm not.
They get at it.
The Knicks could lose both these games, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'm saying if they want to have a season, they have to win these two games.
And I said that tonight. It's funny. In my head, I said tonight was the game they needed. I hate doing that. This is a big game. To me, it was a big game because they were at 500. I figured if they can peak above 500 winning tonight, then you got a little bit of cushion before you go on the road. And by the time you end your road trip, you might not be out of contention of 500. But now that you're sub 500 and you're going to come into two teams that are probably hungry, young, and don't care about, they're just going to let it hang out. They don't care. The Knicks are under a lot of pressure now before they go on this road trip because they have to win. Like you said, they have to win these two games. And I would not count on this team having to do anything because it's not good.
Okay, so if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, Craig, you think they'll win these two games and then lose all the games on the road trip? Ty thinks do you think they're losing all the games, including these two games?
They might get Detroit. So I'm going to give them maybe Detroit because they don't have the 3-point shooters.
All right. So they'll be, hold on. So if that happens,
75-3.
6. Hold on. 6. So it'll be 6-12 coming back from OKC with Ty, and with Craig, they'll be 8-10. I'm kind of on the 8-10 closer to, but I could see 7-11 just because it's a good 7-11. It's good, numbers. I could see them stealing one of those games because the team being like, we're playing the Knicks, huh? We don't need to show up.
Who's the road trip? Who's on the road trip again? Is Utah? Who else?
Utah, Denver, Golden State, Phoenix, Oklahoma City.
They may get Phoenix because Phoenix is falling apart right now.
Did Chris Paul get hurt?
Not Phoenix. I'm sorry. You said Golden State. I mean Golden State.
Yeah, they're not good right now.
Golden State. Golden State. Golden State is. I don't know that's just some weird thing going on. I think that punch meant more than they think. That Hawaiian punch by Draymond Green. I think that messed up the team. I know things like that can fracture, chemistry.
I mean,
since it happened, they've not been good.
And then they come home and play Portland and Memphis, and then it's Detroit and Milwaukee. And wow,
what were the schedules? Thinking they. I'm sorry. That is it a program that does this, or is it like just you?
It's not going to be a Merry Christmas.
Oh no, it's going to be ugly. There's going to be a lot of coal in everybody's stocking. It's going to be. Who's the Christmas game? Is who?
The Sixers.
Sixers, yeah.
And
No,
Embiid,
they might win that game. Like they could win that game. Even if Embiid plays, I think they can win that game.
Well,
they could. They
Yeah.
tend to play the Sixers pretty decent. I
Yeah.
could see them maybe winning that. Harden still wouldn't be back, I don't think. I think that's with he has a no, it's a month. So he's going to be back by Christmas.
he would be back by then. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, it's going to be.
Hey, guess
it's
what?
gonna get
Lottery time. And you got how many first round picks you got this year?
You got possibly 3.
Yeah.
If Washington keeps winning, you can have 3.
So there we go.
You should be every Knicks fan should be cheering for Washington if they
Or
success.
just call the Lakers and ask about Russell and try to get another pick from them.
Well, you won't get one. You won't get one until
You want
2027.
yeah. I don't at this point. I don't care. Just
I think the Knicks do need a trade because I
You
just
have
think
to
they
make
have
a
bunch
trade.
of redundant.
I don't mind doing the trade for him, but they better buy him out right away. I do not want him on this team. I don't. I do not want Russell Westbrook on this team.
I'll take a little Russ.
Nope. I'm sorry. I know he'd be fun to watch. He'd be a quote, all that stuff. You're 100% correct. It would be like Days of Our Lives if they got him. Seriously,
I'll take a little Russ.
It was turned soap opera-ish very fast if they got him. I totally agree. It'd probably be entertaining. But because of the young players the Knicks have, I do not want him on this team. I don't.
The one thing I wish
Even the way Russell's playing right now,
I don't care. We've seen this movie before, Craig. We have seen this movie with him before.
Yeah, but we watch reboots all the time. So why not reboot? I mean,
but this won't be a reboot. This will be the remake of the same movie that we saw. Exact same dialogue, exact same actors, exact same director. Everything be exactly the same.
Let me ask you a question about that. Now we brought that up. If Rusty's on this team, say the swap was Julius and you put Rusty on it, do we win more games?
Yes.
No, I can't say that.
I believe so.
You don't think so?
He can't win games with LeBron James. Give me a break. He cannot win. They're not winning games with arguably, I'm not saying he's my favorite player, but people make the argument that he's the greatest player of all time. If you can't win a game with him, I'm sorry. It would be, you know what it would be like? It would be like when we got Tracy McGrady. That's what it would be like.
Ooh, wow.
Exactly like that.
Wow.
That's what it would be like. He'd probably have a great first game. He'd come out, be great the first game. People would be like, oh my God, that's Rusty. And the next game, he'll shoot 0 for 50 or 0 for 25 with 12 missed threes. He'll still have like 12 rebounds and 8 assists, but 9 turnovers. Like, that's what it would be. That's what I cannot sit through a season of watching him play. I can't. Do
you think that his competitiveness would rub off on our? That's the thing that I look at, like a game like tonight, and I know I agree with you whatever you can say about Rusty, but I do wonder about would we win more, and I'm not saying about how he plays. Would his attitude of not quitting rub off on the young players? Because right now tonight, we didn't see anyone wanting to get into a fight other than Julius. He wants to get into a fight, but it has nothing to do with the game. He's not fighting to win anything.
He wants to fight.
Yeah, he wasn't one. He really wanted to just
he wants like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, two piece and a biscuit. That's all he's doing. Whereas a guy like Rusty, I mean, as crazy and as slowed as he is, he still fights to win. He wants to win. It's not like he doesn't. He never questions whether he wants to win. So it's like I do wonder if you want to take Rusty, if we could only do it a simulation. I don't want it really to happen. But I do wonder, would he rub off on a kid like RJ and a kid like whoever else is on there? Like, you better come out here and compete tonight. We're not backing down. And that's what we missed tonight because everybody backed down tonight. They were like, we don't want to play. I don't think you could do that on a team with Russell Westbrook.
It definitely wouldn't happen against the Nets with Kevin Durant. A game like tonight, it definitely would have rubbed off because Rusty would have wanted to destroy him. We know how he is. He might have taken literally 50 shots to do it. Because against KD, he might have done that. Especially him being in New York and him being in Brooklyn. Oh God, I can't even imagine what that would have been like. But it's a fair point. I could definitely see that being, especially in games like this where everyone seems lethargic, bringing him in because the way he plays all the time maybe gets them going and they do fight and have a better comeback when they did. But I just think I'm worried about the other stuff rubbing off
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
player, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's what I'm worried about
Absolutely. I agree with you.
more than anything else. So that's kind of, if we were a more veteran team, I would be like, yeah, definitely, I could see it. Bring him in. If you have guys in that locker room who could control him a little bit, then yeah. But this, it would be like,
Who, Charles Oakley? I don't see
seriously,
anybody else. He's ran every locker room he's been in.
it would be like putting the Mentos in the Coke bottle.
No,
That's what that would be.
Fizzy.
That's what that would be. Yes, and just explosions, just crazy coming out. And it's weird because he's a player. He's always been fun to watch. I'll definitely say that. He's an excitable player. But
there's the things that he does great is what you want to, like how he plays, not technically how he plays, but his approach to the game, I should say, is what you want. At the NBA players played like Russie approaches games, the product would be so much better. You would not. He doesn't have an off night energy wise. It's like it reminds me how Jordan was. Like Jordan was every night you knew this was going to be a dog every night. Like you never, KG was like that too. You never thought Kevin Garnett was going to, like he's going to come in and not want to fight. He's coming in to fight you every night. That's the good thing about Russie. If the league played more like him, like the Knicks tonight, they needed to give back some of their money. How they played tonight, they didn't want to play. They didn't come out to play. They came out to say, "Oh, well, I showed up tonight."
That was the most distressing. Yeah, that was the most distressing thing. That literally was the thing that bothered me more. And like I said, that goes straight to coaching. There's no, you think, oh, NBA players should be able to get up for games. They should be. You're right, but they play 82 of these.
And there's going to be if they don't have the energy. You say,
and there's going to be, there's going to be some nights where they just don't have it, and it's up to the coach at that point to get them to have it.
Popovich would have pulled them.
He would. Craig, what you said, Jeff Van Gundy did. That's what Popovich would have done.
He'd have pulled them.
He'd have been like, get out. You guys don't have it tonight. I'm putting in the second unit. They didn't play much better tonight, but he would have done it regardless, just to send a message to the starters. Because recapping this game, like I said, last week was bad with the Hawks, but this one was so much worse. And if George Steinbrenner was the owner of the Knicks, Tibbs would be gone. He'd be gone. He would have been gone. He would have been standing in the locker room after the game and like, you're out.
You're gone.
Like that's it. Don't even bother coming in the locker room. Assistants talk. Yeah,
George was very much a New Yorker in a lot of ways. He was like he's what most fans would do right now. They would go, "You got to go. We didn't get what we were supposed to get out of. If you allowed them to come out this way, then we want you out the door because you should not, as a coach, show that you're just as angry as the fans is to watch that crowd." And
he might hire him back in the offseason. Yeah. But at this moment, he was so reactionary. Like he was the biggest knee-jerk reaction owner I could think of.
Oh, absolutely.
He would have been fired. Losing to the Nets by 30, your crosstown rival. Oh Lord.
So it would be okay if Uncle Jimmy D just said, "I'm sorry, Leon, he's done."
Sure.
I think old Jimmy would have.
I never said no. Even when Dolan, when I remember when I wanted them to finally get rid of Phil Jackson, and I was telling you guys Dolan needs to step in, and you were like, "I thought you didn't want Dolan to be part of the thing." But in that instance, that's his job.
That's his job.
That's when he has to step in. That's his job. I don't want him interfering in basketball decisions, players to hire, who to trade. That's where I don't want him. But when it comes to ownership, who's going to lead the team? He's the owner. He has every right to get to interject there. So yes, if he went to Leon Rose and said, "You need to get rid of Tibbs, or I'm firing both of you," okay, I'd be fine with that. Yeah,
I think if he didn't have that label of being who he was in the past,
he would have did.
I think a game like tonight, he would have fired him because it's you're 3 years in and your team came out looking that way, and you're playing against our competition. And you didn't have those guys prepared. And that would have sent the message not only to Tibbs, but to the players that if you don't want to be here fighting for something, we're going to ship your ass out of here too. See, that's what we're not hearing enough from these front office people. Like, hey, we're catering to our fan base to make sure we put a great product out there. If you don't want to be a part of that, we're going to – RJ, you want to go to Utah? You want to go to Utah? That's literally Obi. You want to go OKC? You love playing in New York? Well, act like it. That's really what the owners should say for the most part. I know down in Miami, I guarantee you, they're saying Riley's like, you don't want to be here with all the sun and all the warm weather. I can find you a place.
And the women,
yeah. I mean, you got all the sugar down in Miami. I'm only sure Tyler Hero's out there doing all his sit-ups. Like you're not gonna send me to Minnesota because look, he tells you what, have your body fat. Everybody's got their body fat. Who wouldn't want to live in Miami? It's warm. He's got whatever, Come on, you're in New York. You're in the biggest market. You're in the biggest market period in the world. Act like you want to stay here. If you don't want to stay here, we'll find you, a cold place somewhere else in Oklahoma City, where you're not going to sell all your jerseys and have access and have, the world at your feet. Where you want to play?
Craig, just so you know, Rusty's back to being himself tonight. Just so you.
I don't matter.
He's
okay.
3 for 10.
Call Indiana. Get me Buddy Hield. I need something. I mean, because it's getting to the point now where it's
no. We need something, but you don't want it to be a linear move, or you don't want it to be a lesser move.
I want Buddy Hield. I want DeRozan. I want Levine. I want it all. Give it all.
Zach would probably be a person they could obtain.
You're like stabbing me slowly with these.
But in all seriousness, there needs to be a consolidation move. I don't know what that would be.
I agree with that.
But there has to be something.
Yeah, they need to, like I said, like we've been saying, they need to break up the Barrett-Randall pairing. Yeah. That has to be broken up.
Gotta go.
And I don't want Barrett to go, but if that's what they decided, then whatever. I would hate that. I'd hate them. I don't think they would because
I don't think Barrett.
Why wouldn't they just traded him to get Mitchell at that point? Like, why wouldn't they have just done that in the summer? If Ainge even meant it, we don't know if he even meant that, but why wouldn't they just have dealt him there? So I don't think he's the guy they would go. And I know for a fact, I've spoken to my source that I think I told you guys this, that Randall is like, they're not openly trading him, but he's the guy that they're looking to move amongst all the other ones. They realize that the contract was a bad decision now and all that stuff.
Well, so I gotta give him credit for at least, again, that's their job. But if you can at least acknowledge and say to yourself, well, we kind of messed up, and being able to pivot and try to move off that, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just like we said, his trade value is so low. After what happened last year, moving him over the summer was so hard. And that's why him this year starting and playing well, that's why I was even more excited about him playing well. And I'm like, oh, keep doing it because you keep playing like this, but lasted 3 games?
I think that I think that's one of the things. I don't know if he's in on knowing he wants to get moved too, if he's gonna reveal that, but I think he was trying to, because he's been talking up this whole making my team better. I don't buy it, but I mean, it sounds like he's talking up that theory. I just want to be a part of a team, blah, blah, blah. Phoenix needs a power forward. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but being that they lost the kid, what's his name?
Johnson
to that injury. They have Jay Crowder who don't want to be there. They want to get rid of Saric, obviously, and probably what's the shooter name? What's his name?
Cameron Payne?
No, not Cameron Payne. The guy who used to play on the Nets. He's a shooter. I can't think of his name. But
Shamet?
Shamet. Those are the 3 contracts I know they're trying to get from under. I don't know what the incentive for the Knicks would be coming back, but someone had floated an idea. This, I think, was one of the fans or whatever it talked about. Would this be a move where you may see Phoenix wanting to get rid of DeAndre Ayton? Would you do a DeAndre Ayton for a Randall and Mitch package?
I don't know. I do like Ayton as an offensive player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love his defense. But I mean, that'd be a tough one. They'd kind of open the pain if they move Julius, because they're similar players. Not Ayton's a little more of a traditional center, but just of what they do well, he'd kind of be taking over that role. But yeah, I don't know. He makes $30 million a year, 32-ish a year for Ayton. I would try and make it more of a dump situation Like
Oh, I would
Crowder would be perfect. Saric, I've always liked Saric, but he has no place there. So him, and then maybe like I don't know. Do they even have draft picks? I don't even
They
know.
supposedly do have picks from what I heard. I
You
don't
know,
know
and
how.
maybe a first, because they. I mean, if they added Randall to that lineup and you have Chris Paul there, yeah, I think he'd be whatever Chris Paul told him he needed to be.
Oh,
Like,
he would definitely be.
you know, he'd be like, okay, Chris Paul, be like, yeah, wait, whatever you do in New York, we not that doesn't fly here. You're
Yeah,
doing what?
you're gonna be Cliff Ball here, brother.
Yeah, you're doing what we want you to do now. That those days are over.
I guess my question is, he has to know he's not wanted. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the front office, right? Because they could probably be telling him they love him. But I'm saying you have to know, fan base wise, that no one. This is going
He
to sound
knows.
horrible.
Oh, he's on.
Then why would you want to? Like, I would say, listen. Again, I can't speak for someone else, but I'm like, listen. There's a lot of venom here. My wife is getting into social media beefs. I don't want my kid around that. Get me out of here. You have to know people don't like you, not because you're a bad person, right? But because you do a lot of bad things for this bad team and you're making them worse. So I was like, yeah, it's not working. Get me out of here.
I think he wants out of here. He sucked. He sucked last year. I think he wants to be. I think he'd welcome a trade to probably L.A. That's probably where he would want to go back to.
Right.
I could picture him and his wife loving going back to that big market. She's like a Kardashian cousin, basically.
Yeah.
She
No offense. Sorry,
she
but
does
she
like
is.
that. She looks like that type. She wants the they're dragging their kid. I'm not being funny to take a kid wherever you want to take it, but they were parading the kid around, making this all Hollywood. New York's not about that. I think they want that kind of. They lived out there, I guess, more than when he was a rook there. So maybe they got attached a little bit more to that lifestyle. I think he would welcome going back to LA. We're talking about Russie. That's probably, if we had a three-way team that could get him there and Russie somewhere else and us a talent, maybe we could do the package with Indiana. Maybe you could get a Miles Turner back in exchange for Julius Randle.
Well, Randall, Ford, Crowder, Shamit, and Saric works.
Yep, that's what the rumor was with those three.
So
those
that
three
trade is possible. So that wouldn't that'd be a possibility that I'd explore. Because like you said, Phoenix definitely, they have to work within the Chris Paul window. However long that's open still, they got to continue to try and build a team to win now. And losing Johnson is a big loss for them. So they're gonna have to do something. I mean, they're playing well, so I guess they don't have to do something, but you don't know how long it's gonna last. And he was a big part of their team. Is a good shooter. So yeah, I mean, you add Randall to the mix, whether it's starting or off the bench. With him, Ayton, Bridges, Paul, and Booker, that's
a really good team.
That's a pretty good starting five.
That's a pretty good starting five, and Chris Paul would make it work. I mean, no matter what flaws Julius has, that's going to be definitely it's going to be Chris Paul's team and Devin Booker's team.
Yeah,
and
or
Julius,
it is.
Julius is going to be whatever they tell him to be.
And then Ayton, so he'd have to fit in, somewhere fit in like that, or like we want him to be, be the sixth man off the bench.
He probably would be because Monty Williams would definitely tell him what his role is going to be, and not really care about his emotions to that. I mean, Julius against any second tier talent, he's going to eat him alive. So
he'd be a better version of Rodney Rogers was for Phoenix about 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, Rodney Rogers.
He could be New Orleans. Just be New Orleans, Julius, for them. That's all they would need. Just be the player who was in for the Pelicans. And
he could reunite with is Alfred Payton still on?
He is. Alfred Payton is still there.
His best friend, his Ace Boone. He can reunite with him and Julius can be their duo. They're Stockton and Malone. But yeah, they got to move. You need to make room for Obi. This has just been too long You've drafted this guy as a
to
lottery
replace him. They drafted
replace
him to
him,
replace Randall.
and you double down and give this guy $100 million contract. I'll never. It make sense. It never did make sense to begin with. They should have traded him once they got Obi. Trade him. His value wasn't terrible when they could have traded him then.
No.
But I think the biggest thing with the Knicks is the Knicks are looking back to get back some load for Julius. And I think it's absurd. I don't think that they are thinking logically about this guy is not that guy that's going to get you back equal value or greater value, or he's a 20-10 guy. So yeah, you might be losing that, but you're not winning with him.
As good as he's been, I mean, and he's been pretty good this year for the most part, except for a couple things. He's been like statistics wise and stuff. He's been good. His lowest. I think his second lowest efficiency of his career thus far, after last year. So I mean, he's on the. If you want to say he's on the decline, that might be a little strong, but he's. It's clear that one season was the aberration, and now these last season and the start of this season, you're kind of seeing that he's not a wing, and he's not the wing that he thinks he is.
No.
Right. And I think that's pretty much what the Knicks are starting to see and figure out. The only thing is, and we've said this before, like Ty, you said him and Tibbs are kind of linked. So as long as Tibbs is here, he's gonna fight to keep him, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Right? Absolutely.
So that's probably the closing thought of all closing thoughts. Put that out in everyone's head right now. Mm-hmm. we have Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau attached at the hip. And I think because Tibbs won the Coach of the Year in the COVID season, or Randall was second team All NBA, he feels some kind of loyalty to him, and we see it with how much he plays him. So we know that. I mean, Obi had to pretty much ball out for a week and a half last year for him to say, "Hey, yeah, I could play too." Like, I'm pretty good at this game.
Oh, I like Obi. Yeah, you should have been like Obi. I mean. They should definitely think about trying to bring in Quinn Snyder. That's a guy they could bring in to replace Tibbs. I think we could start the Donovan rumors after that too, but Quinn was a pretty damn good coach over in Utah before Donovan got there, because I think wasn't coaching
Billy Donovan?
No. Quinn Snyder was coaching what's his name? Haywood. So
yes, in Utah.
Yeah, so Utah has always been stable. He's been a good coach. He would fit well here as a head coach for the Knicks. Anybody but what we're seeing now, and I hate doing the coaching carousel. It's just that this guy was the worst choice to put in charge of the carousel. He's not. You get a young team. He doesn't.
Exactly.
He's not interested. I know everybody says, "Oh, look at how you develop." Two people you need to look at that got worse. Quickly's getting worse, and Kevin Knox got worse. Yeah, Grady might have been with Fizz, but no one matured on it. Watch those lottery picks. Those guys that are exceeding now or work hard on the offseason with their trainers. It's not the Knicks. Obi put in work. They said he did work with Tibbs in the offseason, but he was with was it
Don McClain? He said he worked with Don McClain too.
Don McClain. Obi worked on his game. I don't know what Quickly worked on. I just saw him on IG. He was traveling the world. I didn't see no basketball. Yeah,
so, but we forgot one coach we didn't mention, guys. He's available again. Udoka. You might get Udoka?
Emme.
Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic? Wouldn't that be totally Knicks to do something like that?
He's a good coach too, though. Unfortunately,
he's a fantastic coach. He is, and he understands the young players, and he's a good coach.
I would love to have a Popovich tree coach. Who I thought would be a good, which was Becky Hammond. I always say that. I know that they would.
It's going to happen eventually. Why not here?
I think people fear saying, "Oh, give her the first female head coach," and it would be in New York. Might be overwhelming. I don't think it really matter to her. I think she would eat it alive, and I think she's the kind of coach that maybe the Knicks need. They need to do something different. We always go to these coaches with these big names, the flamboyant coaches and the nepotism coaches. Why not go with something just as odd as people would think they wouldn't work, and it probably would work?
Give me a ball coach. That's what I want. Give me a ball coach. Like, just get me someone like not like Tibbs. Tibbs, yes, yeah, blah blah blah. He doesn't like, oh, I'm a basketball lifer, blah blah blah. I don't want someone like that.
Nah, I don't want that.
No, I want someone who, yes, is a ball coach, but also is like has a life as well. Like you need to be balanced to be in all things in life,
I
even
agree.
as a basketball coach, right? You need to be, because to me, you can't relate to guys if you're all you think about is basketball all the time. Like, I know that's their job, but these are young kids, right? These are young kids, they're young guys. You have to be able to relate to them. I think that's a great thing about Popovich. Like, as much as people talk about him being a good basketball guy, he's very real, right? A real dude. I think that's one of the things I like about him as a coach, and all the best coaches are like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're real people. They're people, and they coach. Versus because you got to be relatable, but obviously you got to be respected. I think Tibbs, that whole mantra about him being the hardest working. I would never tell someone I'm the hardest working at something and I'm less successful. See, that doesn't make sense to me. You're the greatest. You're the hardest working. Oh, he watches tons of films, but he can't figure out how to guard a 3-point line and how to do an offense. So why are you watching film for? He could do what I'm doing. I could watch that and figure out a better scheme.
Is there anyone else from the Van Gundy? Because he's more Van Gundy. Tibbs is more of a Van Gundy guy than a Riley guy.
Yeah.
So is there anyone else from the Van Gundy tree who has been successful? Was an assistant. I mean, Ewing was an assistant under him, but he went to college, the college route. He's never gotten a chance in the NBA.
Kenny Atkinson.
Yep. Kenny Atkinson's a good.
Well, I thought he was D'Antoni, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, never mind. Sorry.
He was D'Antoni. See? Anyway, here's the guy. It's the guy I wanted. We wanted.
Yeah, we
wanted. And he's available.
Yeah, he's still available.
He'd
probably be even more available if Golden State really tanks bad this year.
Shit, yeah. I mean, he's from here, so if the Knicks came calling, I think he would jump.
Oh, I think he would. I think this is the job he wanted.
Yeah,
and wants and covets. I just think that
he's
the Knicks. This is typical Knicks. They're always one move away.
Yep, that's what I said.
Always one move. Say should have got that. Should have got Frank Vogel. You missed out on him. We can go on the draft. They missed out on everybody and their grandmother. Then in the draft, like, oh, if we just chose so and so over so and so. So I mean that's just been the MO. But they have a good chance of getting. I mean, Tibbs, I guess, was the best available
name
out there during this.
He was,
and he was obviously sewn in with. I don't think it was a coach search. I just think it was a coach charade. He had the job. They just want to make it seem like they were searching. I get Leon. I got the hire. I understood the hire. I didn't like the hire.
Right.
I understood why, but it was just this guy has a limit. We thought he had learned. This was the whole thing. We're like, let's give him a chance. He maybe all this time hanging out in Golden State, he learned something.
And as an analyst, he was an analyst for a little while.
We're expecting that maybe he's getting the fact that he has to change some of his tactics. Now this year, I don't hear him yelling as much. He might have changed to a degree, but his mind hasn't changed about basketball and how to approach it, and that's why we're stuck where we are.
Yep, and we're gonna have plenty of time to continue to discuss this as the season goes on, unless they do make a change, which would be cool. At least from my perspective, there's always the argument too, like, oh, you don't want to keep changing coaches and you want some kind of stability. I mean, I'm on the other side of it. You want stability when it's good. When it's bad stability, it's not stable. So, it's time to move on. So we're going to have plenty of time to just keep discussing this all season. And hopefully it doesn't get too bad around here. I don't want the team to be completely crap. I'm kind of fighting against. Yes, I would love to be in the lottery this year. Of course, we've talked about that before. Mm-hmm. But it's tough watching basketball, and we're having this show now. So we try and watch every game.
Yeah.
It's tough discussing after every game, we're discussing this crap and these losses that we have to discuss. So hopefully they figure something out. But yeah, man, tonight was it was just a bad game on so many fronts. And I don't know. Most of the time I say, where do you think we go from here? We already got the answer from these two. Ty thinks they're Tankathon, we know already. we're already in the Tankathon phase of the season for Ty. Craig thinks they have maybe a little bit of a run here before they go on this road trip and then kind of fall out a little bit after that. I'm kind of in the middle. I can see Tankathon being where I turn to, and I can see myself buying in when they win a couple games and be like, oh, they're figured it out, because that's the fan in me. That's the fan in me. Eventually, I try and get excited about things when things go well. So, but we're gonna close this one down, guys. So I want to thank everyone who watched, of course, and guys, tell them where they can find you. So, Craig, start with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at at TreySun_28. I try to stay off because it's a cesspool of madness, but you can find me on there. That's it.
All right. Ty, go ahead.
You can find me at Genius Scribble, and once again, you can find me on Tankathon. My picture's right up there. You just scroll up in there, ... I'm right there next to the Knicks symbols.
Yes, we'll see. I'll probably see you there soon. You guys, my information is right there on the screen. It's at finally33 for my personal account, at all_Nick_up for the show account. I also do another show called Straight Outta Gotham. That's at straight_O_G, where we discuss pop culture, movies, mostly comic book related movies, and everything that goes on in fandom. Me and my co-host Peter Vera. You could check us out. I just posted a new pod yesterday, so you guys want to go check that out. We're at episode 97, so we're almost at 100. Yeah, we're almost at 100. So right. That's gonna be a big one when we finally get to record that one. As you guys know, we are here every Wednesday night at either after the game if there's a game on, or we try to be like our time should be 9:00. But if there's a game on, we'll be on after the game, as we've been so far every week. For this season, there's been a game, so you can catch us here. And again, come interact with us. We love having the chatter. Love when you guys come in and talk. And we hope you enjoy our little thing here. We're again, this is new for us. We're starting out. But we have a good time, and even when things are bad, we try and be good about it. Try and be good about it. So for Ty and Craig, I'm Eric. You are watching All Knicked Up, and we will see you next time.